All right. It is Washaholic Wednesday, and I'm Mike Hinderliter, the Dean of Powerwash at Powerwash University and Powerwash.com. Well, actually, it is Thursday. It's not Wednesday today. That's because yesterday was Christmas, and I hope that everyone enjoyed a marvelous Christmas with family and friends, and you got to take advantage of the spirit of the season and giving, and just enjoy the return you get and the pride and joy, more joy than anything, by just being able to give to others and to see how you can help others out. But for this Wednesday, I've got 3 tips I want to share with you regarding taxes and tax planning, well, not so much tax planning, but just kind of ending the year out, and some things you can do to help reduce your taxes. And tip number 1 has to do with Section 179. This has to do with capital investment in your property, buying equipment and stuff. Mostly equipment, and Section 179 allows you to deduct up to $1 million in deductions in this tax year of 2019. So before the end of the year, if you've got any equipment purchases or large investments you want to do in your business that have to do with that, I highly recommend you do it. You can write off that deduction 100% in this tax year. One thing I want to keep in mind when you think about that, though, is if your cash basis and you pay 100% for that property in this tax year and you write it off, it matches up more with your cash flow. Now, if you got a loan and you go to write it off, then as you go into the next season and the next coming years, say you're paying this off over the next 5 years, you won't be able to do those deductions because you took it all this year. I always think that's kind of a benefit to do, to write off the quicker the better. Because your time value of money, if you understand what that means, it's more beneficial to do it. Second tax tip is accelerating your payments on expenses that would come due in January. Go ahead and pay them in December, before December 31st. You can reduce your income in this year by doing that. And hold off on some of your invoicing. So going over the next week, hold those invoices, send them out January 1st, recognize that income next year, reduce your income in this year. And the third tip I have has to do with off-road fuel tax. A lot of contractors overlook this, but one of the things we do in my business is we have gas cards for all the equipment, and we track the gas that goes into all of our equipment. So at the end of the year, we can add up all the gallons used and apply that back to federal tax, and then reduce that off our income. Now, keep in mind, when you take deductions and you're writing off expenses in your company, those deductions go against your how much you pay in tax. So if I make $1 and I spend 50 cents, that reduces my income by 50 cents. But with tax, the off-road fuel tax, you're actually paying your taxes ahead of time, and that kind of turns into it's not exactly the same terminology, but I'm calling it a tax credit. So that means for every $1 you pay in off-road fuel tax, that comes directly off the taxes you owe the federal government. So keep track of that. If you haven't, do it for next year. And those are things that I do in my company, and I want to encourage you to do them too. And just to give you an idea of how beneficial that is, over the course of a year, it adds up to anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 in fuel tax that we pay, and I'm able to take that off my taxes at the end of the year because I already paid it in. All right, that's this tip for Washaholic Wednesday. I'm Mike Hinderliter, the Dean of Powerwash at Powerwash University and Powerwash.com, and I hope you have a successful week. And in closing, I hope you enjoyed a great Christmas and look forward to celebrating New Year's. We'll see you next week. Have a successful week. Take care.